I'm not saying I'm going to read these in July and August. I'm just saying that that's when they're out and you can read them too. Hi, welcome, come on in. My name is Aoife and today I am taking you through some of the books that are coming out this July and August that I genuinely cannot wait to read. Some of them I have read books by the same author before, some of them they're kind of new discoveries for me. They're continuations of series that I've gotten into, but I genuinely cannot wait to get my hands on any of those. We're already halfway into July, so let's take a look at what the books are. First one on the list is the 6th book in a series, but it's kind of a companion novel rather than a continuation of the series. So it's called Why We Were Dating by Jasmine Guillory. In this book, we're following Ben and Anna, who are working together on a kind of an ad campaign, and Ben isn't really looking for anything serious, neither is Anna. They're kind of trying to focus on their careers at the moment, but of course, Cupid's arrow has a lot more to say about that. Why We Were Dating is already out. It was actually released just Tuesday the 13th of July. And like I said, if you haven't read any of the other Jasmine Guillory books before, if you haven't read any of the other books in the series, don't worry. It's not so much a continuation of the series, it's more kind of like a companion novel to the series, and I would definitely recommend picking it up. Out today, the 15th of July, is About Us by Sinead Moriarty. I've read already a couple of Sinead's books already. I've read The Secret Sisters Keep and I have read The Good Enough Mother, and I genuinely loved both of them. So this is going to be the third of Sinead's books that I'm going to read. You're following three couples who are going to therapy to fix the kind of cracks that are in the relationship. You've got Alice and Niall, who have been parents and lovers and best friends for quite a long time, but they feel like the spark has gone out of their relationship and they're kind of trying to bring it back in and also juggle all of the hats that they have to wear in their relationship. You've also got Anne and Ken has just recently retired, and it's bringing up a kind of flux situation in their relationship that they weren't really familiar with in the past, and I don't think that they were expecting to have when Ken retired. You've also got Orla and Paul, and Orla and Paul are just at the beginning of their relationship, but one of them has quite a complicated past, and it is bringing a couple of problems into the relationship as it's going forward. Coming out on the 22nd of July, you have got TheRehearsals by Annette Christie. I loved the idea of this book. The blurb was absolutely what drew me into it, because it's kind of like a time loop Groundhog Day situation. You've got Megan and Tom. It's the night before their wedding. They've been together for such a long time. They're finally going to step it up and get married. And they're at the rehearsal dinner when a huge fight breaks out with the two of them, and they decide to call the whole thing off. You think that that would be kind of where the situation ends and they go into separate places, except that they wake up the next day living the same day all over again. I love time loops. I love kind of going back and seeing, oh, what's different this time? I've been in this situation before, but something is kind of going to be a little bit different, like a butterfly effect here, and I cannot wait to see how this one is done. Also coming out on the 22nd of July is The Lockin by Phoebe Luckhurst. I've already read this one. I've read a preview copy of it and I genuinely really loved it. You have got three housemates, Jack, Alexa and Ellen, and you've also got Ben, who is seeing Alexa for quite a while, and they've just had a night together the night before. Ellen wakes up in the morning and notices that the kitchen is completely flooded. So she goes up to the attic to try and find kind of like the stopcock, kind of like the water supply that she can just turn everything off. One by one, all of the other people in the house start joining her in the attic, but they get locked in. The door handle falls off and they can't get back out. Throughout the time that the four of them are stuck in the attic, you kind of see their attempts to get back out, their attempts to connect with the outside world, but also you realise that there might be a connection between Ben and Ellen that none of them had ever expected to have happened. Coming out on July 30th is One Night Only by Catherine Walsh, and this chronicles one of my favourite things about Ireland: Irish weddings. They go on for about 3 days and there's about 1,000 people there, but it's one of my favourite things about Ireland. We make a huge deal out of our weddings. In this book, you're following Sarah, who's coming over from the US to her friend's wedding in Ireland. She's the maid of honour and she's so looking forward to it because, like I've just said, she's heard how exciting and fun-filled an Irish wedding can be. But also when she gets there, she realises that the best man, Declan, is the guy that she last slept with and the guy that she had a one-night stand with and wasn't particularly expecting to run into ever again. If you can hear any whirring in the background, it's because I just turned on a fan here because it's about 195 degrees in this room, but we continue. Coming out on the 5th of August is Rosalind Palmer Takes the Cake by Alexis Hall. You might recognise Alexis Hall because he is also the author of Boyfriend Material, which was huge last year on BookTube. If you haven't read it yet, there is actually a free copy of the audiobook on Spotify, and I would definitely recommend that you check that one out. If you're a big fan of the Great British Bake Off, or any kind of baking shows, any kind of cookery shows, this book is the one for you, because the main character, Rosalind Palmer, takes part in such a competition. She dropped out of college when she was pregnant with her daughter, and now she's kind of building her life back up, and she's trying to figure out what she really enjoys doing, and she's discovered that she really has a passion and a talent for baking, so she goes on to one of the country's biggest baking shows to kind of get her a chance to win it and to also nurture her talent. Also coming out on August 5th is The Wedding Dress by Danny Atkins. I did intend to read this for the Romance-a-thon in June, but my reading wasn't completely up to scratch in June. I was going through a lot of stuff and I didn't get quite a lot read. But I am genuinely really excited to get to this one. So you're following 3 women who are each trying on the same dress, and they're all kind of going through different motions in their journey to getting married. You've got Suzanne, who has been planning her wedding for such a long time, and everything has been going super, super well, but now it's turning into a bit of a nightmare. You've also got Bella, who's also been planning her perfect wedding, and everything else was going really well for her until she gets to her hen party and everything starts falling into pieces. There's also Mandy, whose grandmother has fallen in love again, but her family aren't totally on board with this relationship. That's 3 totally different situations, 3 totally different weddings, and it turns out I'm reading quite a lot of wedding stuff at the moment. Let's kind of take a deep dive into that. Coming out on August 19th is 8 Perfect Hours by Leah Lewis. Last year, I listened to the audiobook of Dear Emmy Blue by Leah Lewis, and if you haven't read that yet, my 2 biggest suggestions for you, pick up a copy, but also pick up a packet of tissues on your way out. Because I loved Dear Emmy Blue so much, I am absolutely so hyped for reading 8 Perfect Hours. In this book, you have Noelle and Sam who meet each other during a traffic jam and stuck together for 8 hours with their car beside each other. They hit it off so well, and they dive off after the 8 hours, not expecting to see each other again, but having these really lovely memories of the 8 hours that they've just spent together. The thing is that fate is starting to intertwine, and they meet each other again in situations that they never expected to see each other in. And so finally, to finish it off perfectly, coming out on the 31st of August is The Heart Principle by Helen Huang. This is the 3rd book in the series. I've already read The Kiss Quotient and I've got The Bride Test on my shelf waiting and ready for me to go. I absolutely adored The Kiss Quotient. It's got so much fantastic representation. It's got a main female character working in STEM. It's got Asian representation, autism representation, and it's got some fantastic steamy scenes in it. Haven't read The Bride Test, but I do understand that it's got quite the same representation and also quite the same level of steam. In this book, you're following Anna, whose life is kind of going in a little bit of a flux. Her career is doing really well because she has just released a video that has gone completely viral, but her home life isn't going super well, and her boyfriend has just asked if he can open up the relationship. She's not totally on board with the situation, but she decides that she's going to take it in her stride and just hook up with as many one-night stands as she can find, and on her journey, she finds Kwan. Kwan and Anna try to kind of have a one-night stand, and then that turns into a 2 nights, and then that turns into 3 nights because they find such a great connection with each other, and I cannot wait to see how this book goes. Those are just some of the books that I cannot wait to get my hands on and that I cannot wait to read that are coming out in July and August of this year. Have you read any of them? Are you excited for any of those? Or tell me a book that you're really excited to read this and next month. Don't forget to like and subscribe because I have new videos up every week. Now, get on out of here.